Structures, episode number 4. Congratulations, Nick. You are the winner of the grand prize. You are the first guest to appear on the show that has actually appeared to me before my eyes in real life. So thank you.
Oh yeah, that's right. Hey, that's I'm
Yeah,
happy to. I'm very happy to support this podcast. I'm happy to be on.
dude, thanks so much for being here, man. And I'm just going to jump right in. If anyone doesn't know who you are, give a little snippet of who you are, where you're at, what kind of stuff you got going on right now before we get back into the where it all began.
Yeah. Okay. So just a little general intro. My name's Nick Brown. Making music for 20 something years now. On Instagram, Instagram, social media, and Spotify, all streaming. You may know me as Celestial Sonic Experience, which is a mouthful, I know, but it's one of the coolest names I ever heard, so I just had to take it. And I'm doing a lot of more ambient soundscape stuff right now. I'm actually writing. I have a new song written, all the way written, and I'm probably going to make that in a full album. So I'm doing stuff, but slowly.
Nice. Uh, when did it start for you? Start playing music? At what age?
So I think it started at age 4, maybe 5. I was taking violin lessons at that age, and I had stage fright so bad that I couldn't perform. So once we had our first recital, I totally folded and I said, I'm never doing this again. This is horrible. Um, you know, go in the future about 4 more years. I'm taking piano lessons. Same shindig. I'm just not. I don't like the music because I'm a little bit older. I like edgier music, and piano's not cutting it. All right, so we're gonna cut it 4 more years. My mom gives me one last go and gets me a guitar. And the night I get a guitar is actually the night I learned my first song, which is that old American song "Taps."
Yeah.
Da da da. It's an old timey song, but when I figured out I could learn how to play music just by listening to other songs, I was inspired. I was like, oh my gosh, I think I have something. Maybe I can roll with it. So from then on, I just wrote music. I wrote original music. I didn't play many of other people's songs because it became too boring.
Yeah.
So I became like a punk rock musician and starting a band, and then I'm playing shows and I'm loving playing shows. So for the first time in my life, I'm playing music, I'm playing it live, and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm doing it with people I love. And that became my life for the next shoot. I mean, from the age 13, confidently 13 to the age, um, I guess 25, I was actively playing music in bands and playing shows and playing out of town and, just being involved in that lifestyle. So that is my true origin story right there.
Oh, that's a good one, man. And I really relate to that idea or what you did about making your own music because I've never learned like a complete cover song my whole life. I just like to make my own sounds. So,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
I mean, and it took me a long time to get to sounds.
yeah. Well, you sent me a bunch of pictures for the slideshow. Is there any in particular you wanted to comment on?
No, I think you can kind of see for the most part that I enjoy playing live.
You enjoy
Um,
playing live, maybe in a dress or maybe with no clothes?
yeah, I know. I was wearing the dress before people were getting upset about it. I guess. Well, I guess have always been upset about it, but I feel like this recent hate for the LGBTQ plus in the past 12 years has just been absolutely ridiculous. So me wearing a dress was always a rebellion, and I guess in support of the oppressed. So that's kind of who I've been lately too. So
I love it. Yeah, all love here for everybody, man. No, no hatred here. You know that.
absolutely not.
Well, you said you got a song recorded for a upcoming album project. How's that going?
It's not recorded. It
Oh,
is
you
written
wrote.
at the
I'm sorry.
moment. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's fully written. Um, I may introduce some drums, but right now it sounds pretty cool as a just a straight guitar piece. It's not ambient and free flowing in the respects that it just kind of like goes and there's no structure. There's definitely structure with a verse chorus type feel, but it definitely maintains that ambience that I really love. Biggest influence I think on it was Grails. I get a lot of which is one of my favorite bands, if not my favorite. And every time I play that song, I'm just like, I wonder if this would be a nod of approval by the guys in Grails, and that's just what I keep coming to. So if anybody's listening and they're familiar with that band, hopefully you'll like that kind of stuff because that's what I'm doing, I think.
Awesome. Well, I know I spoke to you a little bit before we started recording, and something that came up and something that I've dealt with, you have, everyone has at some point in time, is when you hit that block where you're not sure uh, what you're doing or if it's good enough or what's your value, just like second guessing yourself. Is that something you've been going through lately, or was that in the recent past?
No, I think recent past. I think this has been an era I've been going through. I think this is something I've talked to you. I've reached out to you to talk to you about this kind of stuff
Yeah, yeah.
because we met on Instagram, then we met in person, just and and it worked out. So,
Yeah, and we're actually
so I've always
friends.
been
For those that
happy.
are listening, we're actually friends. We stay in touch, and it's been great. You never know who you meet on Instagram or the internet. If you,
Always be
yeah,
careful, be cautious, but we got
of
lucky
course.
and we hit it off well.
I just
We
throw it out
planted the
there and see
seed.
what sticks. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you could have said no very easily, and so be it. I would have kept driving.
Yeah, yeah, for
But
sure.
but we're back to I guess the imposter syndrome, right? We're coming back
Yeah,
to
yeah,
it's so I actually really think about when we first met. I was probably experiencing that for the first time because during the pandemic, that's when I started experimenting with electronic music and um, digital analog stuff that was not guitar, not stringed instruments, not band based, very solo. And I kind of saw a community on Instagram that did that. And I was like, okay, maybe I can find myself in a new music community. And I think once I got really deep into it, and I started feeling confident with what I was doing with the music, I was like, okay, I definitely feel weird doing new kinds of music. And I think that's ultimately what kind of led me to question what was good and what was bad, right? Because there's no direct influence on that except just my natural musical ability. And I felt like I couldn't really ever capture my true sound through those forms of instruments.
yeah.
And that's what really made me feel like I hit a wall. And I try to come back to guitar, but I try to do with electronic stuff, and I just ran into this forced um, writing experience or forced creative experience that just, if anybody's ever tried to force themselves to do that, it doesn't work. And that frustrated me and just kind of set me back. And I'm kind of recovering from it a little bit. But I mean, I'm not even playing music every day. I'm playing music maybe once a week, maybe twice a week.
Well, how did you? You said you're coming out of that. Help us out. What are some things you do to help yourself out of that, or do you just wait until you organically get the inspiration again?
So the advice I would give it to anybody listening and has the same kind of feeling like they don't know who their audience is anymore, or they don't know why they're making music, or they don't know, if they'll ever be what they dreamt of being. Just know that um, it's you really it's going to sound really cheesy, but you just have to stick to what you know best and what you want to do. Like if you feel like you have to force yourself to change, then it's probably not good. And this is a discipline that it's not easy for musicians to have because most of us are pretty impatient people. We want results very quickly. Um, and this is one of those moments where it's a psychological trick. You have to tell yourself, okay, you're just excited. It's fine to experiment, but do not invest in this one thing. Play with it with very, get a small Volca keys
Mm-hmm.
and just stick to that and just play with that one instrument a lot if you're trying to break out of your normal zone. Otherwise, you're just going to get swamped. So I guess the advice really is just simply, stick to your comfort zone, but not in the idea of limiting yourself, right? It's just do not try to reach out too far to become something that you are not familiar being, I guess is a better way of putting it.
Right, right. Just let yourself grow into that naturally, whatever that may be. It may not be the thing you first had your sight on, but if you follow that natural, that organic growth process, you're going to get to where you need to be.
Absolutely. I mean, it has to be that, because I think of it kind of like with music taste, right? I mean, not everybody loves their current favorite band when they first heard them, right? Some of my favorite bands, I didn't like the first 4 or 5 times. It only took that eighth, ninth, 10th time where I was like, oh, this has unlocked a whole new thing for me, right? But it wasn't a forced thing. It was a gradual exposure to that I got to be like, okay, I get what they're doing, and I actually really jive with it. And that's when you really grow as an artist. Is like, oh, I've unlocked it. It's that wow moment where it's like, oh, I didn't realize that, but it, I'm actually surprised that I do like it, and I can identify what I like. So it's not forcing yourself to do that, where it's easy to identify those traits that you really enjoy and want to experience more of.
That's excellent, man. Yeah, I think on my personal journey, I don't know if I set my sights on a certain thing I wanted to achieve, or just, I think for me, it was a lot more of getting frustrated with um, the things I had or didn't have, instead of excelling in what's available to me. Like you mentioned, just get that one instrument and learn it in and out, and run with that, instead of overloading yourself with options and getting lost in all the choices, you know? I mean, that's
Yeah, God forbid
for
you
me.
try and
Yeah.
produce on top of all of this.
Yeah. No, I don't even know anything about that. I just hit record and hope it sounds good. But I haven't been playing much music either lately, to be honest with you. Kind
Oh
of,
no, why is that?
yeah, I guess my free time is podcasting now. But
That's great.
yeah,
Hey, I mean, you're doing a good service for artists. And I mean, as long as that fulfills your need as an artist to some degree, right? Or I would say to a large degree, then keep going.
well, I appreciate those kind words. Yeah, it's still a creative outlet for sure. And I've come to find that for me personally, like when I play music, the most important thing for me, for what it does for me, is it's not about uh, making a song or album. It's first and foremost, it's like my personal kind of therapy. You know, it's
Yeah.
music therapy, and that's so. When I do have times to play music, it's for me to get grounded, clear my head, clear my thoughts, and then after that, and maybe I'll record something. But first and foremost, it's just to play, just to flow with sound, and let my life balance out in the process. You know. So
It's the best way to experience it. I mean,
yeah,
if um, the easiest, the most valuable, I think.
yeah, I think so too. And that's the key. That's what I had to find for me. That's what helped the imposter syndrome, or the questioning my art's value and all that. Like, all that doesn't even matter once I got to the number one, like, the root for me playing music is just for myself. You know,
Yeah.
things can grow out of that, but so now I just prioritize when I have time. I make sounds for myself. So maybe that's my advice to it. You know, prioritize and make sure you're focusing on hitting that priority when you have the chance. You know.
Yeah, no, that's equally good advice. That's I think that's something that's hard for us to do, because some of us either have a lot of time to do it, or yeah, I mean, the amount of time an individual in this world has to do music is so varied, right? I mean,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
was in a spot where all I had to do was play music. So I would find myself not doing it because that was all I was doing. And then now I'm in a spot right now where, I work 45 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I come home and I have 4 hours before I'm getting ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
And again, priority. I got to eat dinner. I have a partner. I got to attend to her. Um, because that's one of my priorities again.
Sure.
So music just has gone down in my priority list because it's really just become more of a, and like you said, an outlet. So it's like that's not a needed outlet currently, but in the back of my mind, right? I mean, I still want to make that album,
Sure.
right? Not that album that's going to make a change in someone else's life, but that album that I can listen to over and over and be like, damn, like that was me that made that album.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, again, it's not to impress somebody else or to sound like somebody else, but to just surprise yourself to say, wow, like this song is so good. I can't believe I made it. Like,
Yeah.
and then you say, oh wait, I can because I worked so hard at it. So I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I'm still going to work towards that. That's my musician drive that just lives under the skin.
You'll get there, man. It may take. We may not know how long it'll take, longer or shorter, but you'll get there.
Yeah, at this point, I'm fine waiting. I've already wasted the whole of the pandemic trying to be an electronic musician, only to sell basically everything I ever had in those projects. I think the only thing, so I have my mini log XD that I'm going to sell right now. Um, but I'm still using the electronic, or the, what is it called? The Electron model samples. That thing is great. That thing is one, I would say that's the heart of my setup right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never played with one, but I like what I see from it. That's pretty cool.
It's simple. It's got MIDI capability. I mean, that is the main MIDI engine for me. And I mean, you can do synth stuff on it. You can do drum stuff on it. You can do bass stuff on it. So I can play guitar as much as I want. And then if I want to, I can just jump over to that Electron and be like, okay, what do I want to add in that's not guitar? And it's fucking perfect for it.
That's awesome. Let's. I want to go back to the imposter syndrome stuff for a second. And we talked from one perspective on it, but let's hit that key of someone that's feeling struggling with the value in their art. What would you say to that, to someone that's struggling with the perceiving the value in their art, or even placing a value on it? You got anything to say about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as you were saying it, I had to really think about it, but then it just kind of dawned on me. Share it with somebody. And I know that's easier said than done, right? Not all of us are good at making friends or have friends that are available to listen, but get in a community online. I mean, your music's going to be recorded in some fashion or another digitally.
Mm-hmm.
That's the age we live in, right? I mean, we
Yep.
aren't recording this with VHS tapes and shipping it to each other or shipping it to wherever. We can
Well, that guy's on next
immediately.
week's episode. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm sure someone's doing it though.
But yeah, no, it's that ability to share. It's being willing to say, like, I don't know how this sounds. Should I scrap it? Should I not? Literally, go find somebody to ask. Just say, hey, how do you like this song? And they may be honest, and they may not be, but just hearing somebody else, putting them on the spot, obviously, is not the greatest thing all the time for them. But if they're willing to listen to it, then that is probably the most valuable thing you can have. Not because they are right and you are wrong, but because you've let your guard down,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you essentially have now played a show for somebody,
Right.
um, without the embarrassment of a physical appearance. So your soul is being exposed, and when it's exposed like that, you're vulnerable. It's That's the thing that makes music so great, is it can make you so vulnerable, and allow you to do a lot of things that you didn't think you could do or make. But once you're able to share that with somebody and just pull the trigger on literally that share button, like press the share button and there's no going back.
Yeah.
That's a great feeling because it's like freeing. It's like, oh, everything else that comes has nothing to do with my effort, right? All my effort has already been put in, and now I just got to see what it feels like to hear somebody else talk about my music. And again, they could be lying, but it's that ritual of doing it, right?
Yeah,
Because then you're able to, I don't know, record yourself live and put it online, right? So this unlocks all kinds of things. It tells you what you're comfortable playing in front of people, what other people think of the music you make, and then even more so, are you comfortable sharing it with people? So just doing that and attempting to share with somebody, I think unlocks a lot of other things that will help you in the long run in terms of your pursuit of music.
that's good advice, and especially coming from that perspective of producing music. I'd like to add though that I think if you're having fun, then there's value right there already. You know?
Oh, absolutely. Baseline. If you're not having fun, then don't do it. I mean, baseline. so
Yeah.
so I guess I kind of skipped that part.
No, you had good advice from that perspective because that's what you're looking at right now. You know, but I think also, like you said, baseline, have fun, and even if it doesn't become a track or you have to retake it or whatever, like if you're enjoying it and it's doing something for you in the moment, like just look at that like microcosm. You know, like right in that moment, is it fulfilling? Does it feel good? Am I in a creative flow? Then it has value, you know? And not
And
everything we play, not every sound we make is destined to be recorded and shared and to be a song anyway, you know?
I have an entire file on my computer of stuff that of it that just says non-released music.
Yeah,
It's just stuff that I've completed and I have no use for it because I have no reason to share it. That emotion is not there. Like the emotion making the song was there, and there's the statue that remains of it, right? But no, it's loving what you're doing, and that's the hard part to hold on to because some people try and make it a job. Like I've been guilty of this, and when you do that and you're not making money from it, you're kind of burning yourself out. So you gotta make sure that you're having fun, and then after that, that's when you gotta unlock the other little doors that you didn't know you could open.
that's really good advice. I'd like to touch on that community aspect that you brought up too about finding a community uh, online if you don't have one in person or in your area. But I can speak to that too because that really helped me a lot. I didn't even get into music until I mean, making music until COVID as well. I mean, you were doing it before, but you mentioned COVID. That's when I started, and what really helped me was kind of stumbling my way into finding people like you on Instagram. I found the musicians community there, uh, and just received a lot of encouragement from what people share, and then also directly from people talking to them. You know, and it goes a long way. And I don't know if I was necessarily looking for validation at that point. I was more like just actually discovering that I was an artist. I didn't really know that through most of my life. I knew I was creative, and but I didn't really understand that or to perceive myself as an artist. You know, and
Yeah,
it's the community that helped me do that. And like no one told me I was an artist, but things started clicking in place. Like, oh, okay, this is why I think in this manner or see things in this way or whatever, you know. And the community helped me a lot. Excuse me, helped me a lot with that. So that's yeah, that's very good, man. The community, which is why I'm doing this show and want to give back to that community that helped me so much. You know.
oh yeah, absolutely. And I think it comes back to, I mean, again, I was doing music with different bands. I've been in, I think, at least a dozen bands, maybe 13, 14 bands, different styles of music, some similar, some not, a lot of different members. So I've been a part of a community, right? And a very isolated one because, the punk rock hardcore one can be pretty um, exclusive and elite. So they can close themselves off pretty easily to people. And that was frustrating, but again, that community allowed me to express myself as much as I could and as creatively and as appropriately as I could. And that's why when I kind of was like, okay, I'm done playing in bands. I'm a little burnt out with working with people. I want to see if I can make music on my own. And then I stumble upon a community, luckily, because I'm on Instagram, and I say, okay, I see what these individuals are doing. I see the common denominator, and I
Hmm.
can kind of see the second common denominator to see like what makes it a little more appealing. Like that's just my little weird ADHD analysis that I did.
Yeah.
And so that's what gave me the bravery to say, okay, so I'm basically going to start a band and I'm going to go try and play some shows and meet some other people. And that's what my online experience was when I got into Instagram with, ambience gram, or I can't think of what it's called, but yeah, all the cool individuals out there. Florigenic, shout out to him, one of the best on there, really bringing people together and inspiring people. And uh, yeah, it was a really cool experience meeting people. But again, at the end, I just knew I wasn't making the music that I should be making, so that's why I switched back.
That's interesting because I didn't know this. We didn't speak of your instruments of choice lately until now. But I'm also kind of shifting back to guitar. Uh, it's like I love the synth, but just something's drawing me back to the guitar, and I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm just trying to go with it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, my guitar's always been the strongest of my talents as far as musical abilities. Like I can do piano. I couldn't read piano. I couldn't confidently play it, but I could definitely sit there and really work at it and make something happen confidently. Bass, I can play any stringed instrument like that. I can basically play. Drums, never been great at, but yeah, the concepts in the head. I can time. I'm pretty good at timing. Um, but yeah, I mean, synths just were always just kind of this like, it was great because I could just sit there and make beautiful sounds and
Yeah,
textures and really, get um, space out to that, almost associate into that music.
yeah,
But then I was like, man, I'm spending all this time not doing anything and not recording, and I didn't feel like I was improving ever and not actually learning, just experimenting constantly. And I just didn't feel like I was actually teaching myself anything. I was just doing things I already knew how to do, just over and over and over and over. And so I guess I caught myself, although enjoying the sounds, not really understanding what I was making those sounds for. And that's why I shifted back to guitar completely. Said, okay, if I'm going to be doing any other sounds, I got to be making sure I can at least be dominating with the one instrument that I can just confidently play and go to. So at least center that.
well, that sounds like that dovetails perfectly with you addressing the imposter syndrome or whatever. Like you realize what you're good at, so you're gonna kind of shift your focus onto that and go from you had your time with the synth and exploring sounds and making music like that, but now you're shifting into a more of a focused creative groove with your main instrument. So that's bound to help, you know, your self-esteem with your art as well.
Yeah, no, it has changed things. I mean, immensely. I'll have the electronic on the model samples on, just because that's the main heart. But it won't be playing anything all the time. But it's there if I need it,
Yeah.
and I'm really happy to put myself in that situation because I get to focus on the part that I'm best at, and so I get to keep teaching myself while I'm already good at it, and it's a more worthwhile experience, and so honestly makes writing songs less intimidating. It becomes more natural, and find more options, and it's less scary, and you're finding it whether you're actually writing and composing. It doesn't really matter as long as you're able to navigate the notes to find the sound you're looking for. That's where you're in a good inspired part or inspired moment to be creative and really explore who you are as a musician or artist.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. That's excellent. I would like to make one thing, say one thing, like we mentioned like putting value on your art, on your sounds, things of that nature. But I just want to encourage anyone that doesn't, the only one that truly puts the value on your art, I believe, is you. You created it. It's going to go out there and do whatever it's going to do in the world, whether you post it, share it, or not. Like you're making sounds, you're making art, it's making those ripples out into the world, and don't let anyone make you feel inferior just because, if someone says it's not that good or whatever. Like, it's all part of the process. So everything has value. To every kind of artistic endeavor has some kind of value, I think, because even if it's not a masterpiece, it was part of your learning curve. It's part of experience. Maybe it brought someone into your circle you didn't know before. There's so many things that could be looked at as a gain or a positive or a value, more than just how many likes it has or how many downloads it has.
Really, really well said. That is, you nailed it. Yeah, I can't add to that.
Well, where are we going to go from here then? We talked about imposter syndrome.
So okay, I mean, there's also the idea of why are we making music in this era, right? Why are we making music when people are out there putting out 30 seconds to impress
Yeah,
people and
yeah,
somehow monetize on this, right? And it's the monetization that has changed music, I think. It's not the platforms, right? It is the platforms. Whenever they first come out, when Instagram first had video, or even when they were first just pictures, that was a moment where, oh, we can use this moment to really elevate our music. And then you do, doesn't necessarily make you more money, but it definitely elevates your marketing, right? And
yeah,
that's when it's fun, right? But then when you have to worry about how many likes am I going to get, how many views am I going to get, right? That's when it became a problem.
yeah,
Um, and I don't know when that was, but that definitely became a big influence on bands, and I felt like it changed the game for a lot of bands. A lot of the bands that have been established for several years, or musicians that have been established for several years and already had a following individually, it's easy for them to kind of pick up and do what they want. But to start as a new musician, like, why should you do it when there's other people, doing the same music as you're doing, and also, or God forbid, you feel like your music is not interesting, right? So it's, why do you do it? You do it ultimately for what we're talking about. You do it either to be with your community, to express yourself through a community, or simply to express yourself. And I don't think people realize that if you are working all day, you come home and you're depressed, maybe you need to try an expression of some kind.
yeah,
And that's what music allows, is the expression. So why do it? Because that expression needs to happen, right? It's like, you don't want to be angry, but if you never show anger, or you never actually be angry, then that pent upness will has to, come back on you
yeah.
in a bad way. I mean, same thing with being happy. I mean, it's lovely to be happy, but if you're happy all the time, you gotta wonder, right?
Right.
So it's this balance, and I think playing music and writing music and recording music or even producing music provides that balance. It provides a litmus test for trial and error, for good and bad. So, you can have a shitty day and go play music, and the music can be great. Or you can have a shitty day at work, come back and play music, and the music is bad. That's your litmus test for the day. Are
Yeah.
you feeling bad because everything is going wrong, or is everything going wrong because you're feeling bad, right? Um,
Oh, good question.
or I don't know, maybe if that
Yeah.
makes sense there.
Yeah.
But I think that's ultimately my discovery there, and that's something that they don't teach on the internet, because you're so pressured to create an audience and build an audience and create, what they love to say, build your brand, right?
Create content. Build your brand.
Like,
Yeah.
once music and songs and videos became the quote unquote word content,
Yeah.
it that's when I lost interest in sharing music, or it became less fun or exciting and more of a challenge. And um, frustrating. And I still to this day can't unlock that damn algorithm, and I never will. Um, but I'm just gonna make music because it fills that expression. I'm bored at home and I don't know what to do. I can always do that and see if that does something for me. Again, that's my litmus test for the day. Um, so yeah,
That's good.
I think that's my discovery through it.
I like that a lot because that really resonates with me. You spoke that from the perspective of an artist, someone uh, that's part of who they are. Even if you don't do music, you paint or draw or crochet, whatever. Like your hobby, your art of choice is a part of your managing your emotion, coping with the world. Like it's you do it because you have to. If you're that kind of person, that's I fit in that category. I don't even share a lot of stuff, but it's so vital for me, you know, to have that time, even if it's every couple of weeks. Just a time to jam out to some sounds and noise and see where the mind goes and how the thoughts all settle down.
It's a great tool to have. And again, it's not like everybody should play music or has to learn to play an instrument or has to listen to music or even just engage with music. It's just being able. I think every human is a creative,
I
whether they know it or not.
I agree.
And it's being able to find that creative outlet, to find that joy, right?
Yeah,
And again, to say it's easy to find, it's not. It's something that either you get lucky, right? At
yeah,
a young age, you were either given the opportunity to do something and it's just kind of carried with you and you love it, or you have to look for it. And that's a really big struggle,
yeah,
right? Because you are, as a human, you have self-esteem, you have self-consciousness, so you look around to see what people are doing, what you're kind of doing, because you're not doing the only thing. You know what I mean? Like, be real.
yeah,
There's no way you're the only one doing exactly what you're doing. Oh, you're the only one. So you'll be influenced by people around you. You'll see people that are better than you at music, and you'll say, "Shit, how am I not that good?" Or "Oh, I'm better than them." Or "I wonder if I can make music like that." Right? So discovering your niche or discovering your creation or expression, even that is a gift.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and it's earned. Once you have it, that's why they say if you have that gift, you should use it because it will help you in this balance of life, right? I mean, the world's so crazy right now. It's crazy to think that anybody would want to buy an album. But right now, people are wanting to listen to music, right? People are feeling all kinds of feelings, and maybe the music they're listening to doesn't help them do that, and they're looking for that. Maybe you can help them do that, right?
Right.
And that's maybe that's sounding too grandiose, but like, just from my experience, I went out there and I've met people from all over the world that I share my music with, and I've gotten great responses with, and who I can send my music to individually, whether they speak English or not. Um, I mean, that just goes to show that you can do something and you will have somebody who you will appeal to. I guarantee it. In this age of the internet, someone is going to find you and like it.
Yeah, I like that. And you even said you don't even maybe you're not even supposed to play music, or I shouldn't say supposed to, but maybe that's not your thing. But that I agree though. Like everyone is creative. Like some people like super into bodybuilding. Like that's a passion. That's something to pursue and dive into. Like there's so many different ways to be creative and focus your energy. And music just happens to be the topic of this show. But I agree, man. I think everyone is innately creative. I mean, humans. We create other humans. We look at the world around us. All these things we've
Absolutely
invented and
great.
create. I mean, it's yeah,
Yeah. No, we are definitely are creators. And again, it's whether we know it's creative or not. It's being able to be human and kind of express yourself, and then finding the tool to express yourself. And yeah, again, you said like this show may be about music, but maybe someone's out here because they like music, and really they're like, oh, I can't play very well. What if I produce? And all of a sudden, it's like, damn, that's what I need to be doing the whole time. I'm a great listener.
Oh yeah, for
Um,
sure. That's
so that's what I mean with kind of like finding your niche is like you could sit there being like, I'm gonna be a musician, I'm gonna be a musician, I'm gonna be a musician, and then one day you're like, oh, I need to be a producer, and
yeah,
it all changes.
yeah, and it all clicks. Yeah, yeah. For a while, I was when I had a different Instagram account, I was making a lot of posts, and occasionally I'd fall into that trap of like, oh, I should really post something, and then
Yeah,
yeah, and I had to ask myself why. Why it's not like this is my job. Like, why do I feel like I have to post something? You know, and so now with Structure's account, I just did post music every now and then whenever I felt like it, and then when I kind of connected the dots about doing this show, I just let the Structures page kind of morph into that. But I guess, like you said, maybe you don't play music, and maybe you're a producer. You know, I don't know yet. Maybe I'm not meant to release albums as much as foster a community like this. You know, maybe this is my niche. You know, I don't know yet. Still figuring it out, winging it.
hey, organizing is very, very important. If this turns into your special niche, and again, you're great at connecting with people, so I wouldn't be surprised. But if it does, then that's a beautiful thing.
Well, at the very least, like anyone that says yes to come on here, like they'll have their story, they'll have a conversation they could share with friends and family and fans on YouTube anytime in the future, and that's the main thing I thought
Yeah,
was cool
no,
about it.
and you gotta let yourself be proud of yourself once in a while. I mean, I'm honored that you wanted me to come on because again, I haven't been posting anything on my Instagram account, which is pretty much where I've gained garnered the most reception.
Yeah,
Um, but I still love to talk to you about this stuff, and it's still relevant to me as a musician. I still think about this stuff all the time.
and
So you being able to give me a platform to share this on, shit. I mean, I just talk about this with my friends who I don't no idea who's going to listen to this.
well, that's a good point. You mentioned that you weren't posting stuff, uh, and I'm busy enough. I can barely keep. I don't keep up with anyone on Instagram. I pop in, I'll see something, I'll like it, share, say a comment, but even like my best friends on there, I can't keep up with all their posts if they post a lot because I'm just not on there very much. But you said you didn't haven't been posting, but you did say you had a song written, so that just goes to show the difference between that digital portrayal and real life. So don't ever get down, you or anyone listening, don't ever get down on yourself just because the world can't see your post. Like, maybe you're making it happen at home behind the scenes anyway. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
that's where it
that's
starts anyway.
1,000%. You said it so well.
I feel like I had something on the tip of my tongue and I just lost it. And I don't edit either, so everyone will know about it. But that's okay.
Coming at you raw, man.
Yeah, yeah. I don't.
And that's the funny thing. Like, actually, the music I listen to all the time is not the music I make at all. Like, I listen to '90s Brooklyn hip hop or New York hip hop, and that dominantly. And I don't make any music like that. I've tried making music like that, and I'm just not natural at it. It's very forced experience. Um, but again, I'll sit there listen to some good hip hop, and then all of a sudden I sit on the guitar and it just becomes spacey ambientness.
yeah,
Um, so I mean, it's good to have variety. You don't have to live the sound that you play. Like the image is not that important. I really guarantee it. One of the best examples was at Hardcore. The joke was that the really nerdy kid who's going to be singing on vocals, chances are he's going to be the toughest guy at the show,
yeah,
right? That's the idea. Is the unsuspecting person is the one with the most to offer. So when you're making your videos, it's good to make it look good, but you don't have to worry about, I mean, maybe if you're worried about the algorithm, you do, but just trying to worry too much about how you get filmed or how it looks, or if you're able to see all the parts that are being played, it doesn't matter. That's the sharing thing that I was talking about at the beginning. That's the ability to share. Once you're able to do that at all, doing that will unlock a whole new thing.
Yeah, it's excellent. That's excellent, man. And I want to connect a couple dots here. You said you bring it back to the sharing, and you also mentioned, not posting stuff, and you said, you appreciated being on the show because you haven't been posting stuff, but it all comes back to the community anyway. It, even if someone's listening that wants to share their story, I don't care how frequently you post on Instagram. Like this, music is a common denominator, a common interest for folks that I'm having on the show, but it's more about life. It's about the things we've been talking about, like how to handle life from an artist perspective, I guess you could say.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah. So I'm glad you came on. I don't care. I don't even know when you posted last. I don't give a shit. And if anyone else,
Me neither.
yeah,
Fuck that.
if anyone else wants to come on and share their story and talk about this kind of stuff, then hit me up, be my guest.
It's therapeutic,
Literally,
everybody. It feels good.
yeah. It's because the community is what. Without the community or people to reciprocate the art and the conversations, and what's the you know, what's the point of doing it? Well, besides your personal therapy, I guess, like I said earlier, but you know it's
There's something in us,
art.
in humans,
Yeah,
that just has to share.
yeah, art and creativity is meant to be shared. So
And that's what makes it so beautiful too, is just that innateness of it. Is like, yeah, I mean, that's just when you make it, what else are you going to do with it? You want to share it. That's just the natural human element of music.
absolutely. Well, you got one track, not track, one song recorded. Do you have a start on any others for your album you're putting together, or is it more of a long term kind of project?
Yeah, so as it's only written right now, I'm
Yeah,
probably just going to figure out if I'm going to make it like a long, cohesive song album, right? That can be chopped up or whatever, or even maybe just one long song. But the part I have right now doesn't feel like a whole song in itself, in that I feel like it would be better being stringed along with some other movements. So what I'm probably going to do is what I used to do, is make them more like, I guess you could call it post rock in nature, right? And maybe in the way it's written, that kind of open endedness where there may be a verse and a chorus, but it shifts halfway through the song.
yeah,
Um, but this definitely has some great elements to where I can probably make it the middle of the movement, and I can build on the after and before. And yeah, I think I'm just going to sit and concentrate and write, and don't record. Don't even worry about trying to record and worrying about making it sound good. Just making it, just writing it and being able to play all the way through. That's one of the things I haven't done in a really long time. But when I was writing music as a punk rocker and a metalhead, that was how I wrote music. I would write and write and write until I could play all the way through. And then once I could do that, I could share it with the rest. And that's just how it went. And I think that's just how I'm going to approach what I've written right now, because I love it so much. I want to do it justice.
no, I can't wait to hear it, man. It's interesting too that you said you got it. It kind of sounds like it's the middle, and you got to work on the end and the beginning. That's interesting, and that, to me, that opens up even more possibilities.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel like sometimes I feel like that's my natural like that's what happens when I write music. Like the first thing I write when I'm like, "Oh, this is a new song," almost instantly I'm like, "This is the middle of the song."
Yeah,
Like even if this is just one song and it's not one of four parts, it's for some reason when I start a new song, it's always the new part that I write is usually what ends up in the middle.
yeah. It's almost like like visiting a national park or something. You get there and it's like, wow, this is the main event. But then you go off and explore and find all the little gems that you add to it. You know?
1,000%, yes.
Yeah. I know you love being outdoors, man. It's something we both love. The mountains
I'm
and
outdoors right now.
yeah. I kind of am. I'm in my car, but I'm parked in a rando spot outdoors because the family's at the house and I didn't want them to worry about trying to be quiet.
Sure, sure. Yeah, no, I luckily have a lot of property to be on, so I can, take a little stroll and enjoy this conversation with you and kind of having a little therapy, talking about things I haven't talked about in a while, and revisiting a lot of um, kind of memories about me making music, and kind of. I guess what I'm saying is you kind of giving me a little more motivation with this whole thing to make me write a little more music.
Dude, that's the whole point. So awesome. I'm glad to hear that. And it's a vibe too. Like I'm want to go play music now too after talking to you about this, you know.
That's probably what's going to happen. I'm probably going to get off this conversation and be like, all right, what's the next part going to be?
Yeah, and I don't want to ruin that train of thought. Do you need I can let you go anytime.
Oh no, I'm happy. I'm happy to finish off with whatever what else you want to talk about. But I know that that's right now. That's how this conversation. That's what this conversation is generating. Is um, this heart for playing or writing or expressing through music. And so yeah, that's all I'm saying is that this conversation is putting that motivation in. And again, that's that community aspect, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Talking to you about everything, talking it through, and saying, oh, this is what I need to be doing, or oh, this is what I can change. I can make this better. And that's done the best through community.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was much older than I care to admit before I realized that talking to people helps you figure things out.
Oh my gosh. And that's not to say everyone has to do that. It's just, this is just advice that I have to share because in my experience, this is what has helped.
Same, yeah. Just speaking from my personal experience, but for sure.
'Cause, I know some people may have a social disorder where they just can't, do one thing or the other, but they still want to experience the activity. And that's where you have to say, that's where um, doing it at home is perfect. And just doing it to have fun and being able to express yourself is perfect because you don't have to worry about exposing it. You get to do it and allow yourself to express. It's so important. So, to any musician, if you're getting down, just know that you're getting down because you're growing.
Yeah,
Like, it's just a growing pain. That's why they call it that.
yeah. And everything has peaks and valleys. There's a, you know, it's like a cyclic thing that we go through in life. So,
Yeah, there's no constant.
no, no. Change is the constant.
There you go.
Yeah. Nick, I don't, like I could talk to you for hours, but I feel like it's been about an hour, so I think for the episode, I'm happy with that, dude. I just we didn't necessarily plan it out, but I love how we went with this, and I love the conversation, and because this is what this whole show is about. Like, it's not so much about when's your album coming out, what's your new piece of gear. All that stuff is fine to share, but I want this program to be a place of motivation and encouragement, and hopefully even inspiration for other artists and musicians, that can hear it. So,
Well, I can attest it's good for that.
yeah, man, I appreciate you so much, dude. I think I'm just
Thank
gonna
you.
wrap it up, but I'll give you a couple minutes if there's anything at all you would like to share or plug or anything or shout outs, anything at all.
Uh, Free Palestine. That's it, man. Free Gaza from the terror of Israel, and all eyes on Rafah. We got our tax dollars are going to some bullshit. So keep your eyes open, keep your hearts full of love, and that's it.
That's it, man. Hearts full of love. I love you, brother. Thank you so much for being on here and doing this with me today.
Always, always a great time talking to you. Always an enlightening moment. We at least I always find one with you. So I hope to have one with you either on the podcast or just a good phone call, my man.
Yeah, man, you got my number.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Nick. I'll be talking to you later, all right?
All right.
All right.
Have a good night.
You too, brother. Bye. All right, that was Nick, Celestial Sonic Experience. Show him some love on Instagram. And if you're out there second guessing yourself or in a rut, don't don't get hung up on the details. Just keep some forward momentum. Find some new sounds or instruments to urge that inspiration on. But no, it's all just part of life. You know, you get down, you come back up. It's not a big deal, and don't let anyone make you feel like you're less than just a perfect human being, because we all are these perfect creative beings on this planet. And I just appreciate all of you, and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for Nick for being on here. If you like this program, if you like the show, share it with your friends and spread it around a little bit. I got a lot more guests lined up coming on in the following weeks, so stay tuned. Love you. Bye.